Welcome back to Mr. Gard's maths class. Today we're going to be looking at time. The way that we look at time has changed. We currently use a base 60 format for time, as created by the Babylonians. Now the base 60 format is actually really useful. The number 60 can be divided by many different numbers to create a whole integer. E.g. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, and 30, and 60 of course. It makes it a really good number for dividing up. It's also really important to keep this in mind when we see time written as decimals. As minutes and seconds, obviously when you get to 1 minute 59, turns into 2 minutes. Whereas when we talk about milliseconds, we then divide a second up by 100. It was the Egyptians that created the 24-hour day. So they decided that they would divide the length of one day, so I guess from midday to midday or midnight to midnight, would be divided into 24 hours, which we know is 60 minutes. And then it wasn't until Julius Caesar that he created a year being 365 and a quarter days. All of these sorts of things are quite precise and take a long time to work out. As technology has improved, we've been able to get to even more accurate timeframes of length of years and days and seconds. This lesson is going to be focused on the conversion between days, hours, minutes, and seconds. And then also we will talk about the 24-hour time and how we can work out how we can say sort of 8 p.m. in the evening as 24 hours. Now, just as in previous lessons where we've converted kilometers to meters and meters to seconds and so forth, we can do the same thing for time. So if you're looking at the screen, you can see if we could go from days to hours, rather than multiplying by 100 or 1000 like we did using measurement, we're actually going to have it as multiplied by 24, as there are 24 hours in one day. As we convert from hours to minutes, we multiply by 60, and then from minutes to seconds, we also multiply by 60. Now these are just numbers that you have to remember. We obviously go in reverse by dividing by the same value. Given our use of time in everyday life, this should almost become a little second nature to you, and it shouldn't take too much to actually remember these. I guess it's just more about becoming aware of how it works. Now moving on to the 24-hour time, again, this is an arbitrary thing. Midnight we call 0000. We always use 4 digits. So the day begins at midnight, overnight. At 1 a.m., we call it 0100 hours. Well, that's sort of how they refer to it in the army, but it's 0100 is 1 a.m. or 1 hour later. Then it goes on to 0200 and so on. By the time it hits lunchtime or midday or noon, it's been 12 hours and the time is 1200. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. From 1 p.m., we add another 100 to that, so it becomes 1300. So rather than going back to, say, 1 o'clock, it's 1 p.m., but p.m. means in the afternoon or after noon, after lunch. And 2 p.m., 1400. Effectively what we're doing is for every hour past midday or noon, we're adding 100. So if it's 8 p.m., we're going to add 800 to 1200, which will become 2000. And then let's say at 11 p.m., that will be 2300. I'll move this. Oh, can't quite move that out of the way. I'll rewrite that. 2300. And then let's say at 11:59 p.m., so 1 minute before midnight, we would write that as 23:59. 1 minute later, we're back to where we started. So 12, it becomes AM. We're back to 0000. So we never see 2400. We just restart back to 0. The reason I've got that little map down in the corner is because we also sometimes use time zones. Now this one's just been taken from the internet and it looks a little bit weird with all these squiggly little lines. But what happens is the whole planet is divided up into time zones. So in each of these bands, I might use the yellow pen, in each of these bands, the time is different. And that's because on one side of the planet it's nighttime and at the other side of the planet it's daytime. And everyone, wants to be eating lunch in the daylight. So the time changes. And that's why, Tasmania or the eastern side of Australia has a different time zone to Western Australia. Likewise, it's a different time in a different part of the planet. And the reason why we don't just have straight lines going straight down the planet is actually because of where people live. Whole countries sometimes want to have the same time zone. So we can have a look sort of down at New Zealand, down here in the yellow circle. Everywhere in New Zealand has the same time. It would be a bit weird if the time zone cut straight through a town and on one side of the town or city it was 8 a.m. and on the other side of the city it was 9 a.m. So we try and use those time zones to break up islands, like in this little area, or states as they do in Australia. So Western Australia, Queensland and New South Wales have their own, not to mention other things like daylight savings. So it's just important to be aware of that. That's all from today's work on time. A quick lesson. Hopefully that made plenty of sense. Thank you.